What's up, guys? I'm SaltEMike, and this is your Star Citizen Week in Review for March 27th, 2023. I visited 4 countries, and Star Citizen 3.18 is still a mess, but 3.18.1 is on the PTU, and in Star Citizen 3.19, there is an update that is changing everything all over again. All that and more on today's Week in Review. And as always, if this is your first week in review, this is where I take all of the official Star Citizen news each week, put it into one video, and share some of my opinions about it. I also live stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/SaltEMike every day but Monday, so I can get this video out to you guys. So we do have quite a bit to get through this week. Let's start out with some updates around patch 3.18. Now with that, we had 2 patches this week, with one of them being a hotfix. The hotfix was on Tuesday. It was a 3-part hotfix to address a lot of entity-related issues, like ever getting stuck loading in, things like that, basically. It will also include logging to find issues around inventory, loot, memory leaks, and getting stuck in your seats. But they're also working on 3.18.1, which should fix a number of other issues that we had for bug fixes. This is weird. They mentioned in the intro for the hotfix that they haven't fixed these issues related to basically getting out of your seat, gas cloud memory leaks, but they've added logging for them. But in the bug fixes section, it says that they're fixed. I'm assuming it's more logging in case they aren't fixed, but not really sure there. And then a ship claim update we had, which is basically they changed the ASOP terminals, where the first time you join the game, you will have no ships stored anywhere, and you'll have to deliver them to the location that you are in or where you want them. It'll only take about 20 seconds to get them there. This should alleviate issues for us when we first log in. For me, I was never able to log in on my main account. Hopefully I am now that I'm back home. Also, 3.18.1, they gave us another update on that, where they updated the new ASOP system. They gave us a little bit more, but they're also applying some of that to Arena Commander, because Arena Commander is also causing issues with the back end as well. So you will temporarily not be able to customize your Arena Commander ships. It's not a long-term solution, it's a short-term one. They have a long-term solution for this that's better, but for now, AC will not be a very useful tool, as stock weapons are not the best way to train with. And they also released a schedule for the weekend playtest for 3.18.1. that has already passed. I hope it went well, but I'm not going to lie, I really loved the fact that Star Citizen 3.18.1 did not go live while I was on vacation. So I'm very happy to be back and not have it live yet, and I hope to enjoy it this week with you guys on my Twitch stream. So make sure you stop by and say hello. For 3.18.1 patch notes, the feature updates was basically the same thing around ship delivery and some Arena Commander customization. But bug fixes, the stuck in seat issues should be resolved. Leave a comment down below. Let me know if they were and if they have been, because I've heard some differing reports on that one. And then let's move on to a very big deal in roadmap updates. And for roadmap roundup, there's only one item on the list. And with that said, this is probably the biggest roadmap update since Star Citizen 3.15, with the inventory and looting being added. Tractor beam attach and detach. Basically, we're going to be able to attach and detach components from ships. We'll touch much more detail on this in the video section of this update, but this is a monumental moment for me. I used to argue that hull stripping isn't salvage because you couldn't do things like this. So this is really exciting. The idea of restocking missiles, though, I'm not so sure about that yet, but the obvious idea of taking components in and out of ships is a very big one, and I think that is a massive change to Star Citizen. This is more of a system, though, that has to be updated over the next number of releases. We can't have a situation where we have, where we had, I guess, Reputation was a situation where, wow, there's so much they could have done with that. It had so much potential, and they just let it die until, well, we heard, I think last week or the week before, that the mission team has taken over the Reputation system, and we should be able to see more with it in the near future, but it cannot fall the same fate that that did up until now. It needs to be updated on a regular basis. Some examples of things that can happen. Certain PvE ships Ninetales or even Crusader Security can have certain types of weapons, attachments, components, anything like that on their ships that you could farm. And that would be really cool. And the possibility, you know, there are really endless possibilities here with things like that. But they could take the same route that FPS weapons went, and you take certain components out of the shops that those Ninetales, Crusader Security, things like that have on them. So the need to farm is an actual thing. You know, finding wrecks of these and everything could be really useful as well. And then they also need to take repair and rearm and make it more interesting, make it more of a struggle than what we have right now. Maybe it costs more, something like that. But the idea of rearming missiles and things like that in this way just doesn't make sense. And a component degradation, right? Swapping a damaged component out of the same type for a non-damaged one could be something as well. What do you guys think? What was the first thing you thought about for the possibilities that can happen with this in the near future? Because I just think it's endless, and I'm sure you guys down below in the comments are going to have ideas that I never thought of. So leave a comment down below, let me know what you guys think, and let's go into video updates where we go into much more detail on this. All right, and we'll start out with Inside Star Citizen, titled Tractor Factor. It was all about tractor beams, and I'm going to start out with the plans that they had for 3.19 for tractor beams, which the first one we're getting because of the current work on the SRV, believe it or not.
This feature is basically item stripping. So you detach items from certain ports, or you or more use in like riddles that are done by the level design teams.
Once the vehicle is soft dev or unlocked, you're going to be able to, with a tractor beam, find all the good guns and modules like shield generators or life supports or whatever, detach them, put them on your ship, or put them in your cargo hold and sell them later or use them.
So all this is really cool, but they really pointed out that it's up to the designers how this is going to be. We've heard that before. Hopefully they really sink their teeth into this and provide some really deep and cool derelict experiences, or just any experience in the game, looting NPCs when you soft death them or blow them up, things like that. Next, they discuss small changes that they made to the multi-tool that will allow this, and additional functionalities that the changes overall are going to unlock.
So you will use your multi-tool, the very buffed version of the multi-tool, to be detaching those weapons where there is a new weight limit that the multi-tool can now exceed. There's a new volume that the multi-tool can now exceed to allow you to detach at least like a majority of the items, especially the internal components that are size 0, size 1, and size 2. You will be able to detach from their socket, and if you have a spare, for example, sitting around next to you, you can even exchange them. For weapons, since they are on the outside, we allow you to detach any weapon that matches the metrics. So I think right now the biggest that you can pop out of the socket are size 5 or size 6.
I think the big thing is swapping components here is much easier than using the Mobi-Glass, but the concerns that I do have is if you watch the video, you will see none of the components snapped to the cargo grid, and I have a funny feeling that we're going to run into a lot of issues if that's not something that is integrated into 3.19. Next, they discussed my favorite aspect of the update.
What is important to us on the tractor beam are synergies. And what synergies we have is, or we will have with this feature, a way to restock yourself. Like not restocking with physical ammunition, like you have from your ballistic cannons, but at least from missiles.
You can potentially find a ship that's soft dead or like fully destroyed that has the same type of missile, and you can grab those missiles attached to your own ship and use them like in the future fight.
It's also the synergy with which ties in very nicely with the mining update that we have been talking about already last time, which is like you can exchange the mining head on the fly. Not only the mining head you will be able to detach and attach, but also the sub-items attached to the mining head. So if you have, for example, a brand module that just depleted and you have a spare one with you, just grab your tractor beam, pull it out of the cargo hold and attach it again to the mining head. So you restocked your brand module, for example.
So at this point, we have no way to, I guess, restock ballistic weapons, which kind of sucks, but this is a must-have for the future for me. One of those updates that I mentioned in Roadmap Roundup that can really make this system useful. Missiles are kind of whatever for me, but for me, the mining update was the big one here. The abilities of this system and the abilities of just the game in general with mining shows the most. It is the most fleshed out system that they have, and it is the best way that this new tractor beam system integrates with the game overall, and you can kind of see what could happen with all the other aspects of the game in the near future. With that, I can't wait to try this stuff out. It is so exciting. But they also touched on the same aspects with refueling pods, but I just don't see these as being as useful at the moment. One day I think it'll be really exciting, but we need some economy updates for that to happen. And then the last is a quick update on a quality of life change that they made.
We also have some quality of life stuff. So if you have a gun and you move your mouse left, right, the gun will rotate this way always. Before, rotating was very tricky. Now it's a bit more intuitive, at least from my perspective.
Because we also did salvage with the same concept as we did mining with the sub-items and so on. Yes, you will also be able to detach the sub-items on the salvage head or the salvage head in the future itself.
So rotating should be a bit easier. Great. They also touched on a little thing that salvage will get similar updates that mining got. And I think the reason that they're an afterthought are kind of because the depth of hull stripping is non-existent at the moment, so it's more for the future. And then they started out the episode with something I'm not very keen to report on, and it is all the wants that they can do with this thing. And I think it just kind of reminds me of the old days where they talked a lot about things that just ended up not being true or were binned. And I don't expect this situation to be any different, right? There's some of the things that they mention here will just simply not happen. But let's list some of them out. They wanted to add another dedicated tractor beam, which we've heard a lot about, or maybe even an upgraded attachment for the multi-tool. They also want tractor beams to aid in vehicle munching for salvage. They mentioned vehicle tractor beams from mining pods, fuel pods, cargo ships. The SRV was also shown, but I imagine this is a very early look at the visual effects for it. They showed an example of a combat version of a tractor beam idea that they have. Combining beams is a goal of theirs as well. And they maybe even use them to hold small ships. Again, a lot of this feels a little pie in the sky for me, and or just too far out to really sink your teeth into and really care about any of these updates at the moment. But it's good to know where they want to go with this, so I felt like I had to share it with you. For Star Citizen Live, it was with the Montreal team, talking about a lot of the features that we already know that they're working on. Lorville, derelicts, nothing crazy there. 320 was mentioned at some point by Jared in the update, so it's very obvious now that 319 isn't the last 3-dot update that we're going to have before 4.0. And then this isn't a surprise, really, but they also had HR on as well. So yeah, link in the description if you guys are interested in these interviews, but there's really nothing to break out and share with you from them. And our other updates are really short this week. Sneak peek was the Santoki. There's nothing to share there because they've already done a sneak peek on this, so they're just grasping at the last remaining things that they can talk about, since there is, everything's out there, really, it kind of feels like. Then we had a Loremakers community questions. This one was actually pretty cool. There was a lot of interesting questions there. The one that I'll break out is about trash and cleanup. It seems like they really want in-game solutions and things, not to just disappear in front of your face. So they're looking for ways to incentivize players, but nothing is set in stone on it. And that'll do it for this week, guys. So thank you very much for watching Week in Review. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And as always, I enjoyed making it. I am back from my vacation. I am excited. This is the last few weeks that I'll be working at my job. So as always, there's plenty of ways to support me. You can stop by the Twitch stream. You can subscribe, you can leave comments, just watching the videos all the way through. There's plenty of ways to support the channel. There's also a join button down here if you want to support on YouTube as a member. And that's really all I got for you guys this week. There's a sprint report coming next week. There should be some interesting stuff. So hopefully we have a little bit more to dive into, and hopefully we have a working 3.18.1 in by the time we're putting out this video next week. So thank you again for watching, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.